Hey guys, so I'm going to be playing a game of Detective City of Angels. So this is a deduction, I guess, sort of deduction game. You're investigating some sort of crime. I've already chosen the scenario for tonight is going to be the Carnival of Souls. So if you want to play along, you can. I'm just going to be basically reading out a story, and things are going to develop. These cards up here are going to be revealed. These are like evidence pieces. So if you want to try to help me put stuff together and figure out, the solution to this case, then if you just, take notes and listen to the story that I'm going to be reading, and then in the chat, you can easily help and play along with me. In this game, we're going to have, unless the scenario that I will read it once I finish teaching the rules, I'll read out the scenario. But the scenario is going to tell us basically how many days we have. Usually it's 12 days to make a guess. And then if we fail the first guess, we get 3 more days to try again, and then 3 more days to try again. At that point, we just lose. So essentially, we have somewhere between 12 and 18 days to figure out what's going on here. And each day, we're going to get 4 actions, which are these little cubes down here, and then the 4 actions are here, and we just kind of like move a cube down to the action we're choosing to do, and then do that action. So the first action we're going to be able to do here is move. The move action is very simple. It's going to be kind of hard to see, I guess, on the camera, but the map here is divided into different sections. There's one down here, here, and over here. Move lets you move from where you are to any other spot in the area you're in. So if I'm, here on 43 and I want to move all the way to 53, I can just do that with one movement. The way you're going to move between areas is certain spaces like 56, 57, 98 here. They're in between the lines, so they'll be in multiple areas. So if I'm over on 70 and I want to get over to 42, it's going to cost me 1 move to go to any of those because they're in this region, and then another move to move to any of them in that region. So basically, anywhere on the map is reachable within 3 moves. So it looks like it's a big sprawling thing, but it's pretty easy to get around. So that's the movement action. The next action you're going to be able to take is to question. So this is the main crux of the game. So when you question somebody, these will be pieces of evidence, but they'll also be people of interest, suspects, victim, whatever, as these get revealed. And there'll be little standees that show up on the board. If you're at a location with one of these characters, you can question them. And what's cool about the questioning them is you can ask them specifically about any piece of evidence, which is any of these cards that'll be revealed at the top. And they don't necessarily tell you the truth. So I can ask one of the suspects about the murder weapon, and then he's going to give me an answer. And then at that point, I have to choose whether to press him for more information if I think he's not being truthful with me, or I can just let it go and take it at face value. So that being said, there are multiple possible answers that they can give you, but there's only one. It's not even a correct answer. It's the most useful answer. So that could mean that if I ask suspect B about the knife C, he may say, I don't know anything about that. And that might be true. And therefore, that piece of information is the most useful, honest answer that he can give. So that would be the best answer he can give was nothing. At the same time, if let's say suspect B is the murderer and this is the murder weapon, if I ask him about that, he is not going to incriminate himself. He's going to say something like, I don't want to talk to you, which is also true and the most useful answer because he's not giving me misinformation or misleading. So when they answer your questions, you have to decide whether you think they're lying or you think they're not giving you the best answer that they can give you. And the way you're going to answer, there's a book over to the side that I'll be reading, the answers to their questions. And then at the end of each questioning, there's another entry that says if you want to challenge them, you go to this other entry. And there's 2 results when you challenge them. You can either, if you're correct and they're lying, the result would be you get a better answer. And number 2 is you get leverage over them, which is these little hats here, and you put it on the suspect you have leverage on. And then if you question them later, you can spend that hat to automatically get the most useful answer. And then the downside that is if you're wrong and they were not lying, we'll flip one of these stress markers over. And once all 3 are flipped, we lose a day. So that is the question action. The next action is searching the location. So obviously there's about 100 locations on the board here. If we're at a location, we can choose to search it. We go look up location 43 and then read whatever we search to find there. So it might be another piece of information. It might be nothing. It might be something to take note of. And that's pretty much that action. And then very similar to that action is search suspect. So again, if I'm at a location with the suspect, I can search them to see if they maybe have the murder weapon on them or any other piece of evidence. Same idea. You might find evidence. You might find a note on them that you want to take note of or something. But searching them and searching the location is never going to give you misinformation. Those things are always true, as opposed to, hey, Ruel, how's it going? Oh, that's all right. Yeah, he said he's going to raid, but that's all right. I'm just playing detective, so if people want to play along, I'm going through the rules right now. They're pretty simple. You can actually play along without really knowing the rules because I'll be doing it. But basically, we're going to be going around the city, searching locations, searching suspects, and questioning suspects to try to figure out the case that's going on. And the story's going to unfold. There's also these mystery cards that, again, will be revealed as the story goes on. That will be probably more evidence, but these ones, difference between these and these are the questions at the top. These are things that we can ask suspects about. This deck here, we cannot. So before I proceed and actually play, I want to just talk about spoiling a little bit. So the case that I'm playing is 1 out of 17 cases if you have all the expansions. So playing through this, you will, if you watch through, you will know the solution to this case, but there are 16 other cases to play. And this game is replayable once you've played through and you know the solution to the case, because the main way you're supposed to play this game, this is the solo version. There's a lot of mechanics cut out for this version. But the way you're supposed to play the game is multiple players trying to figure it out, and one player is the mastermind. So that mastermind player will be the one controlling the suspects, questioning their answers, giving out the information of what's in the searches, and they're doing their best to mislead everyone, because if no one figures out the case, then that person wins. So the best way to play as the mastermind is to already play the case, because you know then how to mislead people. So I didn't think it would be a big deal to spoil it, being that there's so many cases and they are replayable. But if you don't want to be spoiled, obviously you should back out now. And I will just kind of throughout, just in case people show up later, that I'll remind people that there are spoilers in this. But again, I think it's actually going to be a pretty fun way to play multiple players. So as far as taking notes, this is the sheet that comes with the game. You really don't need this. You can take notes however you want. This grid is helpful because it has the A through L, all the evidence at the top, and then all the suspects at the side. So you fill this in. It'll tell you, if C is a person, you flip over C and it'll say suspect C is actually suspect number 2. So that's how you fill out this graph. And this is how you're going to keep track of who you've asked and what you've asked about. But again, if I'm going to be playing the game here, doing that, I can keep track of that, and everyone else can just take notes and just try to figure out what's going on. So the case we're playing today is Smoke and Mirrors. You ever met my little nephew, Toby? Cute little top, fat cheeks, always got a sucker in his mouth. Well, he loves the circus. Won't shut up about the damn circus. In fact, thinks the sun revolves around the clowns and lions and trapeze artists swinging through the air. Ain't nothing he wants more in this world than his uncle to take him to the circus this weekend. And being the first-rate uncle that I am, I was going to do just that. Buy him all the lollipops he could cram into that thick little mouth of his. But that's all gone to hell now, and I'm going to have to explain that to Toby, that he can't see the circus because some dame got herself shredded to ribbons by a godforsaken tiger. How you think that's going to go over with him? Moving past the tragedy of my nephew's disappointment, I'll lay the whole messy business out for you flatfoots. The Carnival of Wonders rolled into town last week and set up camp in an empty field outside of San Gabriel, so 74. So it says flip mystery cards 1 through 4 and lay them next to the city board. So these are mystery cards 1, 2, 3, and 4. It looks like the little puzzle of a tent. And San Gabriel is location 74, so I want to take note of that. That's probably somewhere we're going to want to go and check out. All right. set up camp in an empty field outside of San Gabriel, flip them and lay them next to the city board. They were all set to open this weekend to the delight of LA's wide-eyed children and when tragedy struck. Dr. Marianne Little, case card A. The carnival's animal whisperer was mauled to death by one of her charges, a 500-pound Bengal tiger. Place the crime scene marker at 74B. So 74B is one of these cards. So it looks like this is a breakdown of location 74. I'll go ahead and stick this off to the side. And on here, just if you want to take notes, there are 4 places to search on here, 74 A, B, C, and D. And then it says that the actual murder 74B, so that's where the crime scene is. I don't know, you can't really see it off to the side here, but trust me, it's there. Then the tiger ran off and hasn't been seen since. Phineas Taylor, flip card C, ringmaster and owner of the Carnival of Wonders, intended to keep the whole bloody affair under wraps. Who's going to buy tickets to a show when it becomes public knowledge that the main attraction just chewed down the employee of the month? Cold-hearted bastard didn't get his way, however, since an eyewitness phoned the death in. Taylor's sulking up at the Hotel Vista de Arroyo placed Taylor's standee at 62. While this all blows over. Guess he's too good to slum it with the wagons with his carnies. All right, so we're taking this guy here. Standee 62. The 74 is here, so that's where this tent actually is for reference. And what are we looking for? 62. 62. All right, so he's up here. I think you can play it via Zoom or Skype if you're playing the sleuth mode like I am, because again, all you really need to know is just read the stuff out loud, and you play one character going around and solving the case. But if you're playing like the regular version, you have to like secretly pass cards between each other, and that's probably not going to work over Zoom or Skype. But there's several different modes to play, and I actually prefer this way, the solo way, because then I get to actually experience the case, and then after that, I can still replay it as the mastermind or chisel or whatever they call it. But yeah, it's preferred for me solo. But again, I want to be able to solve the case rather than run it, so it's kind of like better for me for that reason. All right, so the eyewitness is a dame named Madame Babette Bordeaux. Flip card H and place her standee at 74A. H, ABC, H. All right, and she goes to 74A. So she's off to the side there at 74A. The carnival's resident voodoo priestess. She says she saw the attack from her tent. The officer that took her statement said she was in a bit of shock, but if anyone's got a lead on the direction the tiger went, it's her. The tiger is the priority here. We can't have it snacking on the local residents, so figure out which direction it went and track it down. When you find it, you might be able to shed some light on what really happened to Dr. Little. Maybe it's only an unfortunate accident, but if I was a betting man, I'd put my money squarely on foul play. Oh, and one more thing. You got an anonymous tip that another carny up and disappeared. A little doll of a man by the name of Tom Tennyson, otherwise known as the Amazing Tom Thimble. Flip case B and place his standee on his card. So we got to find him as well. His standee is not at a location, but we know that we're going to eventually be able to find him and ask him. So it says to place his standee over here. Nope, wrong one. There. Seems mighty coincidental that Tom would go missing the same night the tiger ran off. Could be that the two events are connected. Little Toby's going to want to know when he can see the carnival, and I'd like to tell him it'd be sooner rather than later. You dicks disappoint me. I'm gonna have to disappoint him, and then I'll really be in a bad mood. Now get the hell out of here and find me a tiger. All right, so down here, it should be set up stuff that we've already done. But the Vista Royal Hotel has Phineas Taylor. He is there. Carnival of Wonders is at 74. Tent of Mystery, 74A is Babette Bordeaux, and the crime scene is at 74B. So there's a couple special rules for this scenario. You cannot solve you cannot use your solve token. So the solve tokens are not relevant in the solo play, so it doesn't matter. But it says until Mystery 9 is revealed, so we'll keep that in mind. Do not include a weapon in your guess. So normally the guess is going to be you got to find a suspect's name, a weapon, a motive, and those are the three things you need to get correct. But in this one, it says there's going to be no weapon in our guess. You only need to identify the guilty suspect and the suspect's motive. When you move to 74, you may immediately place your detective on any of the 4 carnival locations. For movement purposes only, consider location 74 and each location at the carnival, the cards 74A through D, to be the same location. It does not cost you a move action to travel between locations at the carnival. When you want to leave the carnival, it costs 1 move action to travel to any other location in the same district. And then sleuth mode only, which is what we are playing. When searching the locations at the carnival, note that the paragraphs to turn to can be found at the bottom left of the corner of the search side of the sleuth card. So there's a separate book that that we're going to look up stuff in, and it's telling us to where to find that if we choose to search those areas. So that's the case. So we got a missing tiger, a dead tiger trainer, a missing circus performer. These little cards here sometimes have some extra information on it. So this is Dr. M. Little, the victim. It's all it says. It has a picture of her holding the tiger, hugging the tiger. This gentleman, Mr. Tom Tennyson, he is the amazing Tom Thimble. The amazing Tom Thimble measures 4.5 feet tall. 3.25 feet tall. His whereabouts are currently unknown. Phineas Taylor, ringmaster, bedecked in his ringmaster's uniform, he looks both impressive and foolish at the same time. And then our Babette Bordeaux, voodoo priestess, mystery, and alluring Madame Bordeaux hides hidden depths of cunning beneath her calm demeanor. So if anyone in the chat has any suggestions of where to go, what to look for, or anything like that, please let me know. I usually like to start out these cases by checking the crime scene. That's usually going to give us a direction to go first. So I think we'll go ahead. And also, by the way, you can start at any police station, which are the blue locations, and there's one in each district. So I think I'm going to start here, which is right next to where we need to go, so that we can spend less actions to get there. So first thing we'll do is use one of our actions to move, so we can go to, again, any of the locations at, I wonder if there's a better place to put this. Let's put it over here where there's room. All right. So here is our tent, which is at this location, our crime scene there, and she is at 74A. So we moved here, which is going to put us here at the scene of the crime. There's no one to question here, but I will go ahead and see if I can put this down here. And we'll just have to remember there's some locations down here we might have to look at. But we've moved, and now we're going to search location. So we're searching location 74A. We're going to go into our Smoking Mirrors Facebook. Sleuth card. That I forgot. So there is a little. Sorry, I gotta grab something. All right, so this little card here is what I'm using to look up everything. So one side here has all of the 100 locations, and then next to it a number, which is the entry I go to read when I want to search those locations. On the other side, here is all the. Hey, how's it going, Vidger? Nate, we're playing. I'll go over I'll brief the case we're playing real quick if you want to play along. But this I'm just showing off this little cheat sheet card here is how I look up the information. So on the side here, if I want to search any of the suspects, which are not named here, so there's no spoilers, that will tell me what entry to look at when I search them. And then the other side is what entries to look at when I want to question the suspect about whatever. I just kind of look on the grid and go to that here. So cool. So I'll just go over it so you know what's going on. So we're investigating a case at a carnival where a tiger has escaped and mauled the tiger trainer. In addition to that, the amazing Tom Thimble, one of the circus performers, is missing. So we have a couple things to try to discover: is where he went, figure out what's going on with him, figure out if this tiger attack was just an accident or foul play. I'm guessing by the nature of the game that it's probably foul play. And then the other thing is that we have the ringmaster up here that we can come question, and then the witness is this lady here who is at the tent here, so we can go question her. So the first thing I've done is I'm moving to the scene of the crime, and we're going to search this location. And again, just because I know some people are showing up, this is going to have spoilers. However, this game is replayable once you've played through a case. You can play as the mastermind, and it's actually helpful to know what's going on. And there's plenty of other scenarios. I'm doing one scenario out of 18 total if you have all the expansions, and then what I'm doing is from an expansion. So if you like it, you get the base game. There's nothing in the base game that I'm spoiling. Anyway, so location 74B is what we're searching, and 74B says go to 92. All right. The ground is soaked in Marianne Little's blood, where the tiger mauled her to death. It's a horrifying scene. Looking up, you notice the gate to the north is open. A trail of blood leads through the gate away from the carnival. Look at mystery card 5. So mystery card 5 is a new 74B. So I'm guessing we can search that location. Why would it be a different? Oh, it's okay. It's art. It has the gate open. So it's showing us that the gate was open, and then replace card 2 with mystery card 5, which is what I've just done. So I guess that's a clue to which direction he went, since this is the actual crime scene here that is, this kind of zoomed in version of this area here. And we want to go north, maybe check out the golf club or this lion's farm. I mean, it's a tiger going on, maybe. So we can do that. But I think before we leave here, since it doesn't cost us action to move within this tent area, I think I want to go talk to this witness here. Yeah, so let's do that. So we'll move over here for free. Spend a third action to question her. So right now, we can question her about any of these revealed cards. So we can ask her about the victim. We can ask her about this missing Tom Tennyson. We can ask her about the ringmaster, or we can ask her about herself. Sometimes things like that seem silly, but they actually provide some good information. But I think I'm probably want to go with the obvious to start out with and ask her about the murder, since she was the witness. Unless anyone has any better ideas, please let me know. But yeah, let's try Babette, and we're asking her about A. So we go to 726. $726. None of us liked Dr. Little, but Fedor possessed an unusual amount of hatred for her. She treated him as if he were less than a dog. Look at K. So we have K is information. Marianne Little was universally disliked. So now we can ask people about that. So that's the significance of having that revealed. Now, we can challenge her if we think she's not giving us the most useful information. That to me sounds like she's not really hiding anything. If she's giving away information that no one liked her, and she's giving us information about this other person. Where'd it go? $726. Yeah, so she's giving us about Fedor, so I'll note Fedor did not like him. So this is also something I want to take notes about. All right, so I've noted that. I don't think she's lying, so I'm not going to press her about that. It sounds like she's giving us some pretty good information. So we have one more action for the day. Sometimes, just so I don't have to come back to her, I think it might be a good idea to search her, because a lot of times searching you will if we find something on her that's suspicious, we can then question her again and challenge her this time, or she'll be clean and we don't have to worry about was she lying to us or not. So I'll go ahead and search her. So we're going to search suspect. Search suspect 683. All right, 683. If you must, detective, Bordeaux allows her to be searched, but you come up with nothing of value to the case. All right, so it sounds like hopefully we can trust her and we don't have to worry about her. So that's all 4 of our actions. So we're down to day 11 now. We got 11 more days. We reset this and we just keep on going. Let me just real quick fill in my little grid here with the information we have revealed. So A is Dr. Little. Tom Tennyson is B. Taylor is C. H is Bordeaux. And then we have K, which is disliked. And then suspect 1, it tells me on this card who the suspects are. So the first 3 suspects are the 3 revealed people, and then 5, 6, and 7 are not revealed yet, so I don't know them, so I can't ask them. So suspect number 1 is Taylor, 2 is Tennyson, and then 3 is Bad Bet. All right, so I got that filled in, so I know who I asked about what. All right, so we can continue to ask her questions since we're here with her. Ask her questions about other things. And I think since she seems to be trustworthy, I think it'd be a good idea to get information from her because I don't think she's going to lie. She gave us this information, so I doubt asking her about it is going to give us, well, it might, because she was already talking a little bit about this other person that I assume we're going to find later, Mr. Fedor. So maybe she'll give us information about where he is. But I'd at least like to ask her about Tennyson so we could track him down. So let's go to question, and we're questioning Babette about Tennyson, who is B. So we're going to 615. If Tom is missing, then you should ask the De Winter twins. He and Florence were something of an item, and Agatha was none too pleased. Look at I. So I is more information that Tom Tennyson and Florence De Winter were in love. So that's another thing we can ask suspects about. And I will note that on a little thing here. Tennyson and De Winter, that's H-I. And it also gives us information about another suspect, possibly De Winter. So we have to maybe look her or them up. So again, we can continue asking her questions. We've got a couple things that might lead us to information, but I don't know if it's going to be worth the time. So we can ask her about this relationship in more detail. We can ask her about the feud or whatever's going on with the doctor. But I think we can always come back to her. I think I'm going to start checking down this tiger, and we know the tiger went north. So why don't we? I don't know. I like the thought of him going over to the lion farm, maybe. So I'm going to move. Both these are in the same area, so it's going to cost me 1 move to go up there. I'm at area 69, and I'm going to search area 69. So that's another action, search location. Location 119. Okay. Muriel Gay greets you. I was just about to phone the police, Detective. We had a tiger come through here yesterday and rile up the lions. Never seen anything like it in my life. We managed to run it off. It was headed northwest before we lost sight of it. So good. So now we know northwest, so we can maybe 65. We can do that, or we can make, let's see, northwest. Let me make note of that before I forget. Northwest of 69. Northwest of 69. All right, so I think we just keep heading on this trail, and then if we get stuck, then we can back up and go and question this ringleader, or go back and question Mrs. Bordeaux a little bit more. So I think we'll spend our last move action for the day to go to 65, and we'll search it tomorrow. So we get all our actions back. We lose another day. And now we are searching location. So we're searching location number 65, 537. You spot the tiger sleeping in an abandoned lot. Its fur matted with Dr. Little's blood. You radio animal control in there. They're within the hour, easily sedating and securing the sleeping beast. Wrapped around its paw is a single shoe. Look at L. So now we have the shoe. And mystery card 10 taking note of... Hold on, that doesn't sound like 65. Let me make sure I'm reading the right one. 537. Okay, mystery card L and mystery card 10 taking note of the gameplay clarifications. All right, so mystery card 10 is this guy here. All right. So we found a shoe. The shoe has blood on it. It's a fancier looking shoe, but I don't know how fancy it is for 1920s. Looks like a standard 1920 shoe. A single nondescript shoe that could belong to either a man or a woman. The side is splattered with blood, found attached to the runaway tiger. So make note of that here. Shoe. All right, so we found the tiger. We have this new gameplay clarifications. The shoe belongs to a suspect. It does not belong to a victim. Asking a suspect about the shoe will force them to try the shoe on. So we're going to do like a Cinderella type thing. Okay. You may challenge these responses as normal. You may also bribe and snitch when another detective asks you about the shoe. So that last part, the bribe and snitch, that's for the regular version. So it does not apply to the solo mode. All right. So now we can try to shove these shoes onto people. Great. So I'm glad I decided to do that before going to the ringleader here. Yeah, it looks like really that's the only thing we got, unless we think we want to go back to Babette for any reason. But let's take our next action. We'll move again, and we'll come over here. So in general, I think it's probably a better idea to search before we question him, because if we find anything, that's more stuff we can ask him about. So since we're here, we can search 62, or we can search him, which would be his hotel room, or searching him exactly. So I think first we'll search him. So this is the ringleader, Mr. Phineas Taylor, and we're going to search him. So 89, and that's an action. So we're searching suspect. And 89. Taylor's face goes red with anger as you frisk him. This is outrageous. You spot a button missing from his ringmaster's coat, but that's the only detail worth noting. Otherwise, he's clean. Your only real prize is his humiliation, a satisfying reward in its own right. So we're going to note Taylor missing button. Do we want to also search his room? I think more information is better at this point, because the only really lead we have at this point is him. So I want to be able to grill him for everything possible. So I'm going to search his location before I start talking to him. So his location 62, 169. You toss Taylor's room. He fumes and spouts off empty threats from the corner, clearly not used to being treated this way. Unfortunately, you find nothing of note. All right, well. Oh, well. So that's the end of that day. So we'll move the day marker down. We'll get our actions back, and now we'll start questioning this ringmaster. So let's question him. The first thing I want to question him about is the shoe, because I think I want to try to see if it fits so we can automatically see if he's going to be a suspect or not. Now, I don't know this for sure, but I'm going to assume, shoes aren't that unique. So if it fits him, that doesn't necessarily make him the suspect, I'm thinking. But I just want to keep that in the back of my mind. Anyway, Phineas Taylor and the shoe, which is L. So we're going to go to 59. So we're questioning him about the shoe. Phineas Taylor, L, 59. Taylor attempts to squeeze his foot into the shoe, but immediately becomes obvious that it will never fit. What can I say, detective? I've got big feet. He smirks. Never seen it before. So, again, we can challenge him. Obviously, it doesn't fit him. I don't think that is going to change. But this quote at the end where he says, never seen it before, I think maybe I might be able to get something out of him. So, yeah, let's go ahead and challenge him. Let's go to challenge. It says go to 597. And please, if you have any input or just want to talk and chat, please do. 597. What, you want me to try to put the shoe on harder? Get lost, detective. It doesn't fit, and because you appear to have cotton in your ears, let me say it once again. I've never seen it before. So we do get a stress. Again, if you miss the rules, we have 3 stress, we lose a day. But that still, I think, was worth it because now we know for sure that he has not seen it before. Because, again, when you challenge him, you're getting the most accurate answer, which means there's no lies and there's no misdirection. So he did not lie about never having seen that shoe before. Good. So that does tell us something. So now we can question him and be fairly certain that he's not going to lie to us. I think since he's the boss man, we should probably question him about Mr. Tennyson. We can probably obviously ask him about these other things too. And since we really have nowhere else to follow up, I think we just question him about everything. Yeah, so let's do that. So let's first question him about Tom Tennyson. So we're asking Phineas Taylor about card B, 302. Oh, let me note that he hasn't seen it before. Taylor, shoe, hasn't seen it. And then whenever I challenge questions or I use leverage on it, and so I know for sure that I have the most useful answer, I put an asterisk on it when I take a note so that I know for sure that it's not lying. So, for example, like this Babette talking about Fedor disliking him, I have it written down, but I don't know for sure that that's true. However, this shoe not fitting him and he's saying he's never seen it, I know for sure that that is true. So I put an asterisk on it. 302. So we're asking the ringleader about the performer. Every city we visit, Tom's first order of business is to find the bookies. He'll bet anything, but it's the races he's most fond of. So we can challenge him. I think we've already learned fairly well that he's got no real reason to lie to us. So I don't think I want to challenge him. And I think I'm going to look into this a little bit because he says he is a gambler and especially the races. So there are certain locations on the board that are known locations that we may consider as places he would have gone to bet. So I'm going to just search the board real quick for anything that pops out at me. We have a Riverside Club, Black Diamond Casino. Definitely want to consider checking that. The orange ones are mob related, which sometimes has to do with the case. I don't know that it does, but usually it'll tell you explicitly. So I'm going to write down location 34 is somewhere to possibly look. Casino. And we have Taylor saying that Tom gambles. Montebello Golf Club, Ascot Speedway, Country Club, Lion Farm, Observatory. This is the hotel. Occidental College, Sycamore Park, Angelus Temple, LA Times, City Hall, Union Station, Police Headquarters, LA Library, Wrigley Field, Topsy's Nightclub, Long Beach City Hall, Oil Refinery, Horseshoe Pier, Terminal Island, LA Harbor, Point Furman, Torrance Oil Field, Rivera Club, Inglewood Cemetery, Sunset Pier, Ocean Park, Cloverfield Airport, Fox Studios, Botanical Gardens, University of California, Beverly Hills Hotel, Chinese Theater, Hollywood Bowl, Griffith Park. So I don't see any obvious horse racing places unless they're like, one of these parks is a horse race that I'm not familiar with. Anyway, so I don't see horse. So I think our best bet to follow up on that lead would be the casino. So I'm going to take a note of that, and I'm going to keep questioning him since we're here. And I think he probably knows more about his own circus. So I think we can maybe ask him about this relationship with Tennyson and DeWinter, because he might also give us a little information about DeWinter. So let's do that. So this is card I, and Phineas is suspect A. A and I, 278. A dark look crosses Taylor's face. Tom Thimble couldn't keep it in his pants, and now everything's going to hell. Dr. Little is dead, my tiger is missing, and I'm losing money by the day. He looks furious. So we can challenge him. It sounds like obviously something going on, and it also sounds like he's not telling us the whole story here. So this may not be a lie. However, it does sound like he knows more. So challenging him might give us more information, and I think we still got the stress to spare. So I'm going to go ahead and challenge him on that, and hopefully he'll give me, what it is that's exactly going to hell and why this relationship is ruining his circus. So let's go to 517. You suspect Taylor's rage is manufactured, but when you press him for more, he only gets more angry. You think I'm putting on some sort of act? I never joke about money, detective. I'm losing it by the day, and it all started with Tom and his little pecker. Looks like you misjudged him this time. So again, we get a stress, but it still tells us something, because now we know for sure about him losing money and all that stuff. So losing money. And we know that's true. All right. We got two more actions. I think we also want to ask him about this information, because again, if he's the head of the circus, he probably knows more about this stuff. And then we can also, I think I trust her enough and I trust him enough that I don't really need to get his opinion on her. I think we can probably skip that for now unless we find something out later. So I think I'll ask him about this, and then we'll move on to that casino. So let's ask about K. Phineas Taylor, K, 432. And that's a question. $432. No one liked her, but Fedor, he hated her the most. She treated him like an animal, and while I didn't disagree with her, there's much to be said for keeping the peace amongst the freaks. And she made that very, very difficult. So All right. So we know, again, that Fedor has a problem with her. Since that's the second person to tell us that, I have no reason to suspect he's lying or not giving us the full truth. So I think I'm going to skip pressing him, especially since if we do press him and we're wrong, we're going to lose a day. So I think I have to be more skeptical about when I press people because of that, and I think we're going to leave him alone for now. And yeah, there's nothing. I mean, the only thing we have left to ask him about is the victim, which it sounds like based on the initial scenario that he wasn't a witness to that. We did ask him about the relationships with her, which he gave us a little bit of information on. So I think asking her is probably just going to give us more of the same information. Asking him about her, sorry, I should be more clear. Asking the ringleader about the voodoo priestess. Again, I think they're both cleared at this point, unless something changes. So I don't feel the need to ask about that. So we're going to move on. I'm going to move, and we're going to try to make our way over this casino. So this casino is in a separate region. So I first have to move to a spot between the two regions, which is this here, Sycamore Park. There's really, unfortunately, nothing else for us to do there on the way, so we can't be efficient about that. But one more move will get us where we need to go. So now we're on 8 days left, and we're going to move again to the casino. And the only thing we can do there at this point is search location, and hopefully we find Mr. Tennyson. And usually when you find a suspect the first time, it gives you a free question. Just so you know, we might get a free question out of it as well. So location 34. Five, 435. The Black Diamond's glitzy exterior hides its dirty underbelly of vice and corruption. You love it. You play a few hands of blackjack and take your mind off the fact that you found nothing to help with this case. Okay, great. So that was 3 actions we wasted. So let me go back to my notes here. We searched the casino. We searched there. Taylor's missing button is the only thing that we haven't really followed up on. Tom Tennyson being a gambler. Maybe there's a different location that's actually a horse racing location. I want to cheat a little bit and Google Sycamore Park, because maybe that's a racetrack I'm not familiar with. No, it doesn't look like it. Okay, so I'm just going to scan the board again for any possible. Oops, I moved the suspect and not us. Griffith Park. Oh, you know what? There was a raceway, a speedway, but the art on the board looks like a horse race track. So let's go there. And that was right next to where we were. So there's Ascot Speedway here, and then the art on it clear. When I read it the first time, I was picturing like cars, but I'm thinking this is the 20s, and the art there looks like a horse race track with the gates and all. So I think I was mistaken, and that is probably where we need to go. So let's waste a couple more actions getting back to where we need to. So I'm going to move again here and move back so I can get to the Acosta Speedway. That's going to waste another day, and I'm going to go get my actions back. So now we can search the Speedway, which is 64. And more search location. 451. $451. You light a butt while you watch the pack of hot rods kick up a storm. So it is. So it is cards. Kick up a storm in the dirt of the speedway. 2 of the lead cars slam into one another and go careening off the track, throwing one of the drivers clear. He ain't coming back from that one. You stub the butt out and move on. Paralyzed hot rod jockeys aren't going to help you solve the case. Okay. Not a horse racetrack. Okay. Gaze Lion Farm, we already checked there. Sorry, I should be reading these out loud. So Cathedral of St. Viviana LA General, Southwest Museum, Sycamore Park, Occidental College, Angelus Temple, LA Times, City Hall, Bradbury Building, LA Times, Wrigley Field, Topsy's Nightclub, Mount Wilson Observatory, Long Beach City Hall, Horseshoe Pier, Terminal Island Prison, LA Harbor, Point Fearman, Olympic Stadium? I don't know. I'm not going to gamble on that. Loyola High, Sunset. I don't see any racetracks, so I think that I should give up on that lead and go back and question somebody. So it looks like we asked Taylor about almost everything. We didn't ask him about himself. We didn't ask him about Dr. Little, and we didn't ask him about Bordeaux. However, Bordeaux, we only asked one question, so we have more questions to ask her. So let's head back to the beginning and start questioning her again, because I am lost. All right, so I need one action to get down there. So we're going to move down there, and now we're here. I could also search the various areas of the tent there. That might not be a bad idea. Yeah, let's do that. So let's search 74A. So search location. 74A is 223. You search through Bordeaux's tent while she watches. A bemused look on her face. You find a hodgepodge of religious instruments and a basket full of eerie dolls, but nothing else that would help you with the case. All right. Let's question her, and we can ask her about anything pretty much, but she's the one that told us about this. Let's ask her about... Did we ask her about Tennyson? If we did, I didn't mark it on my thing. All right, I'm going to ask her about Tennyson. However, if it's something I read before, I'm not going to use an action for it. Because I'm pretty sure... Oh, did we run out of actions? Was there? Oh, I freaking moved this guy again. We were here. We started there. We searched. We moved. We searched. We have one more action, and that was question. Okay, so I spent it already. Anyway, so I'm going to question her about 6:15. We're asking her about Tennyson, the missing performer. Yeah, so we did ask her. This is where she told us about the Winter Twins. So I'm not going to count that as a question. I'm just going to mark it on here. To Winter plus Tennyson. So I will instead ask her about the shoe. We didn't have the shoe when we talked to her the first time. So let's ask her about the shoe. So $6.99. Bordeaux's foot is too wide for the shoe. She managed to barely cram it in, but it's obvious it doesn't belong to her. That shoe is too small for my clumsy Cajun feet, detective. And to answer your follow-up question, I do not know who it belongs to. I think we've already established that there's probably not going to be much to gain out of grilling her, so let's just write it down. She doesn't know. Nothing. Oops, wrong box. And it also seems to be too small for everybody so far, so maybe it does belong to the 3'3" guy. Let's see. What else can we ask her about? We can ask her about this relationship, and we can ask her about this feud sort of thing going on. But again, I don't have any other leads to go on, so I'm just going to start asking her about everything. What do we got? So we can ask her about Taylor. I think I'd rather ask about these first because he's probably going to provide us more information. So why don't we ask her about Tennyson and Florence de Winter being in love? So we're asking Bordeaux about I-492. They were going to run away together. Given Tom's religious witch hunt against me, I was all in favor of them leaving as soon as possible. That would have made a number of people very unhappy, however. Okay, so Tom's religious witch hunt against her. So Tom is the performer. So they didn't have a great relationship. Let's note that. Witch hunt. And it says, I was all in favor of them leaving as soon as possible. That would have made a number of people very unhappy. So I imagine that would be the ringleader. Who else? I don't know. Probably the other twin. Do we want to challenge that? That sounds like she's given us a good amount of information, so I don't think so. So let's ask her something else. Let's ask her... Oh, no, let's ask her nothing until tomorrow. So we get our actions back, and we will ask her now about this feud going on. So we'll ask we'll ask Mrs. Babette Bordeaux about Marianne Little was universally disliked. 574. I had no great love for Dr. Little, but Fedor's hatred for her was something else, something otherworldly. I'm honestly surprised she lasted as long as she did. Again, we can challenge that. I don't see a reason to. She's telling us a lot. She's telling us stuff that Fedor again. So the only thing we have left to ask her about is herself and about Taylor. So let's ask her about Taylor. The ringleader, Phineas Taylor. This card C, so 38. He's a nasty man, but he puts food on the table and pays the bills. For a family of freaks like us, it's the best we can hope for. She starts off saying he's a nasty man and then defends him. So maybe she's hiding something, or maybe she's not wanting to say the truth. And I think at this point, unless someone else has an idea of something, I don't really know where to go with this. So I'm thinking maybe I'm not getting all the information. So I think I'm going to go ahead and risk it and challenge that. 248. So let's go to 248. All right, so you try to unearth more information from her, but Bordeaux only frowns at you. The kind of disappointed look that your mother gave you when you were 5. I've said all I can about Phineas, detective, but I can see that the truth is wasted on you. So we get another stress, which means we lose a day. Oh, and I don't know what to do now. So let's asterisk this. Nothing useful really, but except for that he's nasty. All right, but we have truthful information about Taylor. The only other thing to ask about is herself. Well, let's just exhaust every question we can ask her, and then do the same with Mr. Taylor over here, because I don't know where to check. I don't see any. Again, we're looking for this gambling addict, and he's not at the casino. I don't see any horse races. on the board. Yeah, so I think I just need to grill these two that I have access to. So let's question her about herself. H. 301. I've been surprised at sometimes how useful it is asking the suspects about themselves in previous cases. I'm a Mambo detective, a voodoo priestess, and I'm not to be trifled with. All right, I'm not going to challenge her again because it's not getting me anywhere. So I have one more action. We have nothing else to question her. We have 4 locations at this tent, and I'm doing a little meta here. I don't know why they would give us 4 locations there if so far what we've done here is we've searched, it's the scene of the crime, and we've questioned her. So that if it could have been done like that, why did they choose to put 4 cards out there? So maybe we'll search the other cards. I mean, the movement is free at this point because it's all one location. So I might as well do that before, because I think at this point I think I'm gonna fail the first guess because I don't know anything yet. So let's move for free and let's search location 7D, 74D, 188. You knock on the door to the sleeping quarters. It opens as you're greeted by one face covered in hair and one face without any hair at all. Yes, can I help you? There we go. We found Zidor. Why didn't we look for the circus people at the circus? I don't know why that didn't occur to me. So Vidor Zolotov, the dog boy. His face is covered in hair, but his cat, Mr. Perkins, is hairless. Speaks with a thick Russian accent. So now we have another person to ask. This is great. Finally, Fedor. Fedor is our prime suspect at the moment because of his problems with Dr. Little. All right, so look at D and place his standee on 74D. Let's find Mr. Dog Boy over here. Fedor Zolotov is suspect number 4. You may ask him one question for free. So the reason it tells me he's suspect number 4 is so on that grid I know how to look up questions for him. So Fedor is suspect number 4. And we can ask him one question. So I think the most obvious question would be to ask him about Marianne Little being universally disliked. So Fedor is suspect 4. And we're going to ask him about K 246. Has anyone seen, I'm sure everyone's seen at this point, but anyone watch that Tiger King on Netflix? I keep thinking of that while I'm watching this, or doing this case, I mean. 246. Dr. Little mocked the twins, joked that feeding them to her tiger would be a mercy. She was a terrible, terrible woman. 551. Do we want to challenge him? He's not. He may be misleading us, trying to get us to look at these twins. He's saying he's a terrible, terrible woman, but he didn't say anything about the implication that he hates her. So I think I want to challenge that. Again, we're safe because we already lost the day for that. So let's challenge him. I think based on everyone else talking about him, he's not too trustworthy at this point. So we'll do 551. Zolotov is petting Mr. Perkins furiously as if to distract you from the truth he's trying to hide. You wait a minute, and he finally looks up, realizing you're not going anywhere until he comes clean. Because of the way I look, she treated me like an animal. Zolotov's blood is up now. Wanted me in a cage with the other beasts. I may be different, but I am a human being. But now at least she can no longer hurt anyone with her arrogance. Okay, Mr. Perkins purrs contentedly. Gain 1 leverage over Fedor. So now we have leverage over him. It's this little hat like on here. So when we question him again in the future, before we even look at the answer, we have to spend the leverage if we choose, and that will automatically get us the best answer. So the way that works is we read the question like normal, but we turn to the challenge entry, and then automatically do that for free. And then at the bottom where it tells us if we get leverage or if we get stress, we ignore that part. So we don't get any of the rewards for it, but we also don't get any penalties if they're lying. So it's basically a free challenge. And since we know he's lying, we have a free challenge. So we got to think closely about what we want to ask him about. So we ask Fedor about this. He says, got mad. Let's see. He got real mad. All right. So why don't we ask him about the shoe with the leverage? I don't know if we need leverage for the shoe because the shoe's either going to fit or it's not. Let's just ask him about the shoe and save the leverage for something else. So suspect number 4 about this shoe, which is L579. The shoe dwarfs Zolotov's tiny foot when you attempt to slip it on. I'm sorry, detective. You'll have to find a mysterious shoe owner somewhere else. I do not know who this belongs to. So I think since he's too small for it, it's probably not Mr. Tennyson's shoe. But do we want to challenge him about him not knowing who it belongs to? I think we do, because we're relatively safe with the stress. I should have probably used the leverage, but we still have the leverage. So let's challenge him. See if he does know who it belongs to. 730. Because he would probably want to protect whoever it belongs to. I mean, it's got blood on it. So he might be trying to protect somebody because he didn't like her anyway. So maybe he's not the suspect, but maybe he's trying to protect the suspect. That's my thought here. So let's hopefully get more information. Maybe you want to see if it fits Mr. Perkins. Maybe he is mysterious shoe owner. Zolotov laughs. My foot does not fit, and I do not know who this belongs to. I already said the first time. All right, stress. All right, he doesn't know who it belongs to either. All right, now we have a leverage over him to ask about. Doesn't know. Fedor, what do we want to know, Fedor? We want to ask him about Tennyson and the twins. Do we want to ask him about Tennyson or Dr. Little? I think we already got enough information about Dr. Little from him when we asked him about her being disliked. So why don't we ask him about Tennyson and see if we can't figure out where he's gone. 200. Tom was very religious. Every city we came to, first order of business, finding Tom a priest to confess. Okay, that's new. Let's look for churches. All right, so Montebello, let's start here because he's probably going to go to the closest church, I would imagine. Speedway, Country Club, Farm, Observatory, Southwest Museum, LA General, Cathedral. Here we go, 55. 55. Chinatown, Union Station, City Hall, Sycamore Park, Occidental College, Angelus Temple. Let's write that down anyway, but not likely. Hotel, Sunset Boulevard, Black Diamond Casino, Hollywood Sign, Griffith Park, Hollywood Bowl, Chinese Theater, Chateau Marmont, University of California, Hotel, Botanical Gardens, I'm not seeing any other church that is the closest and appears to be only church other than this temple, which is a secondary possibility if the church doesn't pan out. So I'll write those down to check out after we're finished questioning Mr. Zolotov here. Religious. Let's write down there. We still haven't used our leverage on him. We definitely want to do that before we leave. So why don't we leverage him about Dr. Little? Because if he's going to lie about anything, it's going to be about her if he's involved. So let's spend our leverage and ask him about A. So we're asking Fedor about Dr. Little, 141. So Tiger escaped to the north. That is the direction I'd search if I was looking for it. All right, well. We challenged him. So we're going to automatically get to see 591, which I don't think is going to get us anywhere, maybe. Oh, wow. Zolotov is trying to be helpful to distract you from the truth, but you know better. He doesn't take much encouragement before he knows his true colors. He spits on the ground and Mr. Perkin hisses at you. That horrible woman tormented me to no end. I hated her. We all did. Such sweet ironies that she is mauled to death by her beloved tiger, no? Look at K. Gain 1 leverage over Zolotov. So we don't get the leverage because we leveraged him to begin with, and we reveal K, which we already knew. So let's go with Mad and Tiger went to North, which we already knew. It's all stuff we already knew. Okay. All right. So we can ask him about Taylor. We can ask him about himself. We can ask him about Mrs. Bordeaux. Or we can ask him about this Tennyson and De Winter relationship. I think I want to continue questioning him because we already learned our lesson by having to go back once. So why don't we ask him? Oh, shoot. I haven't been paying attention to that, have I? Shit. Well, anyway, I think I'm one action behind because I don't think I did an action for questioning him that time. All right. So now, where's I? 4 days. 4 days left. We questioned him once. We're going to question him again about. We're going to ask him about Tom Tennyson and Florence De Winter being in love, and that is item I. Fedor. I-104. He was smitten with Florence, but Agatha hated him. It was always going to end in tragedies. There were no other way it could end. Okay. So that goes back to what Bordeaux was saying earlier about them leaving would piss people off. Agatha hated him. I assume Agatha is the other twin. I'm going to... Agatha hated him. I don't know if we need to challenge that. I don't think that would be worthwhile. I do think... I think we should go check out the other card at the tent because I think that's probably where the twins are now that we know we found the other circus performers at the circus. Duh. So let's go. Do we want to ask Mr. Fedor about Taylor or about himself? I don't think so. And we're running low on time. So we're going to move over for free and hopefully find the twins here and then check out that church. So let's search location 74C 684. And just in case you're wondering, this is the hardest of difficulties of the cases that are in the game. The easier cases, they were pretty straightforward. They were still fun, but they did not present any points at which where I felt like I was stuck, like this one is. And I already forgot what I'm looking up. 74 C684. The Hall of Freaks is one more unusual places you've been. It's also nearly empty, said freaks have gone elsewhere for the death of Dr. Little, except for a pair of conjoined twins sitting in the corner. There are conjoined twins there. Okay, that's a whole nother story. That's why. Okay, that is very interesting. So we're going to look at F. Cool, that's new. And we have Agatha and Florence de Winter, the conjoined twins, beautiful, delicate, and permanently attached to one another. So that's obvious why it would make her mad if her sister ran away with the midget guy, because she'd have to go with him. Okay. Love it when a plan comes together. Anyway, all right, so we have them there. Agatha and Florence de Winter are suspect number 5. You may ask them one question for free. So suspect 5, de Winter. We're going to ask them about this love affair. So we're going to ask the de Winter twins about Tennyson and not Agatha, Florence de Winter. So we have what? Suspect number 5. I 482. It's true, I loved him. There's desperation in Florence's eyes, and she says this. You were a stupid fool, Flo, Agatha retorts. You shut your mouth, Ag. You shut your mouth. Seems they've struck a nerve. Challenge, go to 662. Do I think they're lying? No. But do I think they're not telling me everything? Possibly. So let's challenge them. 662. They keep snipping at one another. You're struck by how fantastically difficult it would be if you could never escape from one of your siblings. You try to butt in and get more information out of them, but they both snarl at you, insist they were telling the truth. You back off. It looks as if they're being honest this time. All right. So we asked them for free about this. Nothing new. All right. So we can continue to question them. We could search them. Possible she'd have some sort of note on her. So let's search suspect. What are we looking at? Suspect number 5, 331. You move to frisk the De Winters, but Florence gets a panicked look on her face and immediately produces a book. Here, take this. This is what you're looking for. Ooh, cool. We found something. So we found a book of prayer, a worn and well-loved Catholic book of prayer. Inside is a flyer for St. Vibiana's Cathedral, which is location 55, which is what I'd written down earlier. So there we go. Found on Agatha and Florence de Winter. So now we have the Bible for item E. We can ask her about it. However, we kind of already got from the other gentleman, Fedor, that he's religious. So I think we're going to end up with the same information. If we ask about the book, we have no information about what they think about Dr. Little. So we could probably ask them tomorrow, obviously, because it's the end of the day. Okay, so now in the morning, we can ask them about Dr. Little being disliked, or we can ask about Dr. Little directly. I think it tends to be when I'm asking about Dr. Little this way as opposed to this way. This one, they're giving us information about the tiger, which we already found. So I'm going to ask about K here. So we have suspect 5. We're asking about K70. Fedor hated Dr. Little, absolutely hated her. And he even said he wished she was dead. Dead as a corpse. Well, okay. Could they be misleading? Probably. Well, maybe not probably, but possibly. If we challenge her, we're going to lose a day, and we only have 3 days left. Probably not a good idea unless we're pretty certain that they're hiding something. And they keep saying the same thing. Everyone else keeps saying Fedor. So I don't see a reason to challenge it unless there's a conspiracy against Fedor. I don't see a reason to challenge that answer. Do we want to ask about Tennyson? I feel like if we ask about Tennyson, they're just going to tell us the religious angle. If we ask about the Bible, they're going to tell us about the religious angle. I think we got what we need out of them. I think. We can try the shoe. Let's try the shoe. Let's try the shoe on everybody until we find the princess. 198. Suspect 5, 198. When you present the shoe to the twins, they hurriedly push their right foot out from underneath their dress. It's an inch too long for the shoe, however, no luck. We've never seen this before, they reply in unison. Everyone we've challenged about the shoe has not turned out great. We only have 1 stress left. We only have 3 days left. I think I'm going to have to choose to believe them that they haven't seen it before. Nothing out of that. So let's move on and let's go to the church. Hopefully we'll find Mr. Tennyson and he can blow this thing wide open. Because after that, I'm out of options. All right, so let's move from here, going to the church, Cathedral of Vibiana, which is here, so I have to go here first. That's 1 move. 2 moves to get to the cathedral, and we'll search the cathedral, which is location 55. 388, and we'll cross off location 55 because we've been there. What was it, 88? 388. Here we go. The old stone church is undergoing renovations. Looking around to ensure no one is watching, you duck underneath the scaffolding and enter the cathedral. Look at mystery cards 6 and 7. 6 and 7. So we have the interior of the cathedral. Place them next to the board. You can interact with these new locations using the same rules as the carnival. Write down the following paragraph numbers to turn to when searching these locations. So if we want to search the A card, 55A, it's going to be 761. 55B, it's going to be 309. Okay. So there's a confessional and altar. We know he's there to confess, so we're going to want to go to the confessional and search there. Tomorrow, we're just going to sleep in the church, I guess. Yeah, there's no other reset for the day, so I guess you just sleep wherever you're at and wake up there and continue your investigation. All right, so we are in 55B, the confessional. We'll search there. 55B is going to be 309. And we are searching location. It's a good way to waste extra actions, making me search the same location multiple times. 309. You pry open the door to the confessional. Slumped inside, a bright knife buried deep in his chest is Tom Tennyson. Bastard. Look at mystery card 8. Mystery card 8 is Tom Tennyson's body. Tom Thimble, the world's smallest man, has been stabbed through the heart. The knife is still there, found in a confessional at St. Viviana's Cathedral, 55B. So let me continue reading, because unless this goes up here in the grid, we can't ask about it. So it might tell us to put it up there. Replace B with mystery card 8. Look at mystery card 8. Replace B with mystery. Yeah, so now we can't ask him anymore, but we can ask about his body. Wonder how that's going to work. Finally, look at mystery card 9, taking note of the gameplay clarifications. You may now use your solve token, which is not relevant to us for the solo game. In addition to solving the death of Marianne Little, you must solve the murder of Tom Tennyson. You must, and I have 2 days to do it. All right. You must correctly identify the guilty suspect and the suspect's motive, but not the weapon, since the knife was still in his chest. You must include 4 items in your guess: suspect and motive for Little, and motive for Tennyson. Oh, okay. Suspect and motive for the Little murder thing, and then suspect and motive for Tennyson. The suspect or motive may be the same for each victim. Sleuth mode only, which is us. You will make 2 separate guesses in order. First for your Little's death, second for Tennyson's. You will not add all 4 numbers together. That's rules. I didn't go into it because it's not really relevant, and it's just how you see if you won or not. If your guess for Little is incorrect, do not make a second guess for Tennyson. You must get both guesses correct to solve the case. Shoot. All right. Can we search him? He's on here. Let's search him and see if we find anything. 788. So let's search suspect. You pat down the body of the diminutive corpse, looking for any hint of who killed him. The knife is plain and common. It could have been used by anyone. Next to his body, you find a bright, shiny button, but otherwise there are no leads. You'll have a good old-fashioned detective work to solve Tennyson's murder. So the button, we remember that Mr. Phineas Taylor was missing a button from his cloak when we searched him. So that's the first place I want to go and ask him about Tennyson. And I also think that makes him the suspect. Since I have so little time left, do I want to go with that as my guess? And then the motive would be ruining his financial stuff. So I think that might actually be good enough for me to be confident in a guess, and instead continue looking into the suspect for Little. Because for Little, I still don't know. I mean, Fedor probably, but I don't have a motive because no one's really told me what the deal is between those two. So how would I find that out? I can ask Fedor, but he's not likely to tell me if he's not going to implicate himself. Plus, I've already asked him. I have not asked Tennyson. Well, I can't ask Tennyson because he's dead. So useless. I can go start asking about Tom Tennyson's body now. However, I don't know how mechanically they're going to tell me something different than if he was alive. Because it doesn't change. I'm still asking them about B, but the B card is different. So if I go to Phineas and ask him about him, he's just going to tell me about the gambling. I don't understand how I'm supposed to ask him with the revelation of him being dead. Why don't I search the other part of the church to see if there's any clues, maybe murderer left behind, besides this button, which is fairly implicating. Let's search location again. 55A, which we wrote down over here, is 761. Lying next to the altar at the front of the church, you find a small handcrafted doll. A number of pins and needles protrude from its body. Okay, look at Jay. So now we're looking at Bordeaux, who I was believing the whole time that maybe she hasn't been 100% truthful. Voodoo doll. Small handcrafted doll is pierced with pins and needles. Found near the altar at St. Viviana's Cathedral, 55A. So there's that. But still, I don't know how I'm going to figure out about this tiger. We have one more piece of evidence that I haven't figured out. I can't do anything else at this church because I've already searched everything, and I cannot talk to Tom because he's dead. So let's move these out of the way. All right, so I'm going to move. I can either go here and ask him about Tom, but again, mechanically, I'm just going to be asking him. He's just going to tell me the same answer I already heard because he doesn't know that Tom is dead. And I don't know how to tell him that I know that Tom is dead. I could grill him. Did I ask him about that? I didn't grill him the first time. Maybe if I grill him, because everyone, oh, cool. So everyone I've asked about Tom Tennyson, I have not pressed them. So maybe if I press them, the killer would obviously know that he's dead. Okay. So yeah, let's go back here and ask him about Tennyson again, but this time we'll press him. So I'm getting very close to running out of stuff to do here, though. So that's one option then. The other option is going and asking her about this voodoo doll. But he easily could have gotten it from her. So I'm going to put my money on going here and asking a bunch of questions and probably running out of time after I get that done. So let's move for one. Get my actions back. Last day. Move again. Question him about Tom Tennyson again. But this time, we're not going to believe him. So, Phineas Taylor, 302. 302. And he's the one that told us about the gambling, which was a mislead, I think. So, hopefully. Okay, sure I read this, but every time we visit a city, Tom's first order of business is to find the bookies. I'll bet anything he's at the races he's most fond of. Turn to 52. Lion sack of S. Yes, all right, cool. You can smell the lie on him like rotten fish. So Tom doesn't have a gambling problem as to where he could be, Taylor shrugs. Of all my employees, he's the easiest to misplace. Taylor laughs at his own joke, but stops when he sees you are not joking. Just a little carny humor, detective, nothing more. Gain 1 leverage. Cool, perfect. So now we have leverage over him. He was trying to mislead us about this, so I think he knows what's going on. Because he's not going to implicate himself. He's not going to say, oh, yeah, he's dead because I killed him. And he didn't lie about, he just said, he shrugged. So I'm pretty solid that he's the murderer. So why don't we ask him about this voodoo doll? And we'll use the leverage so we get the most accurate answer out of that. And let's cross this gambler thing out and write lied. And we're now asking him about J, which is voodoo doll. All right, so we're asking you about J, 257. Taylor considers the doll. It looks like Tom. Babette wasn't exactly shy about how much he wanted him gone. She even came to me once and asked me to throw him out. And we're challenging automatically because of the leverage, so I don't have to debate this like I was about to. 611. Taylor shakes his head. I tell you the truth, you call me a liar. I haven't met many detectives, but I hope the rest of them are a good sight better at their jobs than you are. So we didn't is an action to ask him that. So there's our action. We don't get the stress because that was a leverage action or a leverage question. But unfortunately, that tells us that he's not lying. So They could be in it together. She could have taken the button off of his coat and left it there on purpose. I think those are the two possibilities. So I have one action left before I have to make my final guess. Moving's not going to do me a damn thing. I've already searched him. I've already searched his room. I've asked him about Tennyson and Preston. I have not asked him about Little. I have not asked him about Taylor. I have not asked him about Fedor. The Bible. I haven't asked him about Bordeaux directly. And I did ask him about the voodoo doll. He said nothing. All right, so I think I'm going to go with him as my suspect because he has a good motive. And she doesn't have a motive that I'm aware of that I would think would be strong enough to kill anybody. So I'm going to go with him, and I think I'm going to try to ask him another question to get me to the suspect for the tiger, which means I'm going to ask him about Fedor. So let's ask Phineas Taylor about D. Fedor 377. Fedor hated Dr. Little, although I never figured out why. I think she treated him like one of his animals, and he didn't take kindly to that, although I can't imagine what he expected looking like he does. I'm going to do a little bit of gamery BS here in that was my last action. It's the end of the day. I'm going to press him because taking stress at this point will lose me a day, and it's the last day anyway. So let's press him. 240. $240. Oh, Taylor is trying to throw you off the scent, but you're not having any of it. Listen, the truth is that while Dog Boy was a quality addition to the Hall of Freaks, he never held a candle to the twins. A look of disgust crosses his face. But I could do without that hideous cat sulking around the carnival. Okay, so we gain leverage. We're finished Taylor. All right. So now we have to make our final guess. So the way this works is we have to find a suspect and a motive for each of the problems we have going on here. So there's a chart on the back of the rule book here where we're going to make our guesses, and there's numbers next to them. We add up those numbers, look at that entry, and it'll tell you if you're right or not. There is a list of motives. We just kind of have to pick one. So final guess card, suspected name motive, suspected name motive. So that means, which one do we have to do first? It said here, the shoe belong, no. You must include 4 items in your guess. Suspected motive. You will make 2 guesses in order. First, Little's death, and then for Tennyson. So we're guessing Little's first. So for Little's, I think the only one that had the clear motive was Fedor. We haven't found anyone that shoe fits. Which is weird. This might be another suspect in that case. Where's my pen? There it is. Okay. If anyone has any input, please let me know because I'm a little not sure here. So let's go with suspect and name. So Fedor Zolotov and Zolotov is suspect number 4, so that's 51. And then motive. So the motives we have is accident, anger, rage, which is possible. And that would be 21. Drug-related, no. Mob-related, mental instability, money, greed, need to be noticed, obsession, political, religious, revenge. Okay, 154. self-defense, sex, jealousy, suicide, to keep a secret, or urge to protect. So I think it's either anger or revenge, and I think anger is the higher possibility. So let's go 51 plus 21 gives us 72. So let's look up 72 and see what happens. So it's a completely unrelated entry, which means it's wrong. And I'm just going to back up a second. And because in the base game, when you're playing the full mode, the sleuth is supposed to accept three. There's usually three motives that are all correct. In the sleuth mode, you're supposed to guess at one of them and hope it's right. So I've kind of house ruled that I get two. If I have like between two motives, I try them both. And if I'm wrong, they both should be wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and pretend I didn't do anger and do revenge instead and see if where that gets me. So 154 plus 51 is 205. Let's check 205. And if that's wrong, then we get 3 more days to reinvestigate. Belvedere Gardens is one of the cookie. Okay, so that's not correct. So I either have the motive or the suspect or both incorrect. It does not tell you which. It just, you add up the numbers and it's wrong. So either Fedor is not the Tiger King. He is not the, what's her name? Murdered her husband, fed him to tigers. So let's resume. So we get 3 days back. And the way it works is basically if you solve it in the first 12 days, you're like ultimate detective. Then the second guess and the third guess, you get less and less of a ranking sort of system. You only fail if you've made a final guess 3 times and it's wrong. So that was our first wrong guess. And it also said that if we don't get the first guess correct with the suspect and the tiger thing, we don't try to do Tennyson. So let's get our actions back. And now we need to figure out this tiger thing. So what can we ask Phineas Taylor that might get us information about the tiger, since we're already at Phineas Taylor's location? We have not asked Phineas Taylor about the tiger itself. So that's a good place to start. So we're going to ask Phineas Taylor about the victim, basically asking about her dying, which might give us some information about her, might give us information about the tiger. Let's find out. Entry number 6. So we're going to question. Everyone disliked Dr. Little, but none more so than Fedor. He would rip her throat out if he himself could have. Look at K, which we already know is the universally disliked card. And we already lost our day from the stress, so we get our stress back. Disliked. And we want to challenge it. I don't know if we need to challenge that. If we ask Taylor about himself, we can ask him about Fedor. That might be useful. Let's ask him about Fedor. 37. I'll be honest with you, detective. I could give a chimpanzee's ass about this carnival. It's about the money, and the money is good. At least it was until Dr. Little went and got herself mauled by a tiger. He grimaces. So that was what? 37. C. Oh, I accidentally asked him about himself. So, I got the information. Cares about money. Since we're already here, I'll just go with it. 37. He's saying this maybe to protect himself, that he doesn't want her dead. I could press it. No, I'd rather just ask him about Fedor like I meant to in the first place. 377. I feel like we read that before. Fedor hated Dr. Little, although I could never figure out why. I think she treated him like, yeah. looking the way he does. We already asked him that, so never mind. Done with that. We can ask him about the Bible. We can ask him about Bordeaux, which the voodoo doll thing I think I do want to ask about. So I think I'm going to take back that because we already asked him about that. And I will ask him about Bordeaux. Bordeaux is H. H is 148. She came to me and asked me to get rid of Tom. Said he was stirring up all the other freaks against her, that her voodoo wasn't an abomination before God. I, of course, ignored her. Tom wasn't the biggest draw, but he still sold tickets. Okay, that gives her a motive. But there's still that button. I was very trusting with her when I asked her. I can go back and press her with all these answers, with all these questions, and I need to ask her about the voodoo doll. But I'm trying to make sure I ask about everything here. Wanted Tom gone. All right, so I can ask about the Bible. I don't think that's going to be useful. So let's get down to the carnival and I forgot who did this freaking tiger. The shoe. Who haven't I tested the shoe on? This possible person is the only person left that would fit the shoe. I couldn't put it on him because I have to ask him. I'm going to retroactively question the dead man about the shoe to see if it fits. Because it didn't occur to me that would be a possibility. Probably a wasted action anyway, so retroactively, I'm okay with the cheating. So I'm going to do it. So we're going to ask suspect 2 about L. 244. Oops, the paragraph is a dummy paragraph that you have reached by accident. So I could not have made him try the shoe on. So again, me cheating was detrimental to myself. So I'm okay with it. All right, let's move to 74, and we want to grill her because, well, I need to figure out about this freaking tiger. All right, Miss Bordeaux, let's start grilling you about stuff. Let's first grill you about Tennyson. Do you know that he's dead? 38. So this is something we've read before, but this time we're not believing her. He's a nasty man, but he puts food on the table, pays the bill. Oh, wait, wrong one. $6.15. If Tom is missing, then you should ask the Winter twins. He and Florence were something of an item, and Agatha was none too pleased. Okay, we don't believe you, you lion SOB. 582. Cool. You sense something in Bordeaux's tone that tells you she's hiding something. You poke a bit more and she explodes. Tom was an ignorant, intolerant wretch. He was a blight upon our family. I hope he fell into a ditch and died. Looks like you hit a nerve. Gain 1 leverage over Bordeaux. We're going to immediately spend that leverage. And we're going to adjust this to say pink, pink. Hated him. And pink, pink, pink. Okay, so we know that, and we're going to now ask you about the voodoo because we haven't asked you about that at all, and we automatically get to go to the best answer. J. Babette, entry number 2. Yes, I recognize that. Agatha asked me to make a doll that looked like Tom. I thought it was going to be a peace offering to Florence, but judging from its condition, it appears that she had other ideas. 674, because we don't believe her at all, and we're using our leverage. 674. If Bordeaux was lying any harder, she'd be on fire right now. It doesn't take much effort on your part before she crumbles like a cracker. Agatha didn't ask me to make it. I made it on my own. She stiffens her upper lip a bit in a bit of resolve. But it's only a doll, absolutely harmless. Don't tell me you believe in the power of voodoo, detective. Gain leverage, which we actually don't gain because we used the leverage to get that answer. She made the doll. Doll, and that's with leverage. That's with leverage. Okay, what else can we ask her about that we maybe didn't believe before? She didn't fit her. She told us about this Fedor thing, but that's corroborated by multiple people. We asked her about Tennyson and De Winter. She revealed that he was doing some sort of witch hunt against her. We haven't asked her about herself, or did we? I'm pretty sure we did. 301. I'm pretty sure we did. Let me just double check this and mark it off because I'm not going to use action right now because I'm pretty sure we already read this. Yes, we did. I'm a Mambo detective, a voodoo priestess, and I would not be trifled with. Do we maybe want to spend an action and press her about herself? Yeah, F it. Let's press her about that. Turn to 496. You think I would lie about that? Bordeaux is deadly serious now. I never lie about voodoo, detective. You should watch yourself. Okay, so she said earlier that she did. Why would you believe it? And now she's saying, why would you disbelieve it? So I'm changing my suspect to her for the Tennyson thing, but I still have no idea about this freaking tiger. Which is maybe means I should stop wasting time grilling her. Ow. Freaking bit my I didn't really ask the De Winter twins much about Tiger, Fedor. It is possible that it was not intentional. It might be that Dr. Little herself is the suspect and the motive is accident. So Dr. Little is not one of the suspects, so I cannot try to put the shoe on her. And it said that the shoe does not, it belongs to a suspect, not a victim. Yeah, I'm stuck. All right, well, let's grill her about this Tennyson De Winter thing. So we're asking her about this relationship between De Winter and Tom. So we're asking Bordeaux about Tom Tennyson and Florence De Winter are in love, but this time we're not going to believe her. 492. They were going to run away together, given Tom's religious witch hunt against me. I was all in favor of them leaving as soon as possible. That would have made a number of people very unhappy, however, being the ringleader and the twin sister. If she thought he was leaving, why would he kill her? She killed him. So, 236. We're pressing her. I don't believe her. Bordeaux is displeased when you call her a liar. Instead of answering you, she picks up a nearby doll and begins sticking pins in it absentmindedly. Now, detective, you really should be more careful about throwing that word around. The consequences could be painful. She looks up. I was telling the truth. Do you have any more accusations from Madame Bordeaux, or was this the only one? Gain one stress. So again, she's using voodoo doll trying to intimidate me, but she was saying earlier, she's a murderer. Nothing new there. Yeah, let's go ask the twins about tiger stuff because I am running out of time to figure out this tiger thing. That's a free move because it's the same location that we're going to question. Twins, the Winter Twins. We'll ask about Fedor since he's my prime suspect here. Maybe they'll give me a different motive that I'm not aware of. So let's go with suspect 5. We still have mystery cards I haven't found, so there's something's going on here that I don't understand. I have a thought in the back of my mind that I'm not going to try to do until if I fail the next guess, I'll use the next 3 days to do it. But maybe I should track down where they took this tiger and search that location and see if there's more evidence on the tiger. I doubt it, but if I get it wrong again, there's no harm in trying. But I'll leave it for the next failure. So we're asking the De Winter Twins about Fedor 781. Fedor is a kind soul. Yes, a kind soul. And I love Mr. Perkins, his cat. I don't care for cats, but he hated Dr. Little. Oh, yes, he hated her. Do I want to press them? Oh, hated Dr. Little. I mean, I don't want to press it because it's my last day and I would be out. So I'm not going to press that. I want to ask them instead about... Hey, Dr. Little, didn't I already ask them that? And they told me that the tiger went north. Let's check 305 just to make sure. Agatha begins, Dr. Little was very unkind, and Florence continues, very unkind, horrible even. Agatha ignores the interruption, but she took care of the animals, and I loved the animals. So I did not ask them that before. I don't know what else I want to ask them to get to the bottom of this tiger thing. So I am going to press this, and it might mean that we have to make another guess right now, which I'm not prepared to do, but I need to get information. So 585. We're not lying. No, we're not. The twins both cross their arms and glare at you angrily. Nothing new, and they're not lying. Okay, so that means we gain a stress. That means we lose a day. That means we make another guess. All right, so I still think... Why don't... Okay, so going through the possible motives again, if it is Fedor, accident, possibly. I think if it's accident, it's more likely Dr. Little herself. Anger, rage, it was not. If Fedor is the suspect, it was not because of anger or rage. Drug related, we've seen nothing about drugs in this whole case so far. Mob related, same thing. Mental instability, I don't think so. Money, greed, if it was him, possibly, but it sounds like him having her dead is losing him money. Need to be noticed, no, doesn't sound like it. Obsession, I don't think so. Political, religious, no. Revenge, we already tried that and that was not it. Self-defense, she's mean to him, but she hasn't been violent to him. I don't think so. Sex, jealousy, doubt it. Suicide, no, he wouldn't. It's not suicide. He didn't kill himself. To keep a secret, it's a possibility if there's information I don't know about, which there is because there's obviously at least this. Urge to protect. So I don't think there's any other motive that fits him other than what we've tried. So I think we have to rule out Fedor because of the motives. So that means my next suspicion would be it was an accident in herself, which I'm immediately realizing is wrong because Dr. Marianne Little is not an option as the suspect for that case. So I can't even pick her. So who does that leave? Phineas Taylor. If it was Phineas Taylor, money or greed? Why would he want her dead if for money or greed? Need to be noticed, obsession, political, religious, revenge. I don't know. I have no freaking clue. So let's go with a shot in the dark. Let's go with Fedor. And let's assume he's got some sort of secret that she found out about that I have not encountered in this case. 216. So that's 267. Nope. All right, so that means I get 3 more days, and this is my last guess. I haven't. I have no idea. I've searched all those locations. I've searched all of those suspects. I've searched him. I've searched his location. Searched all those locations at the church. We searched the location where we found the tiger, obviously. How am I going to find this evidence? Anyone have any ideas in the chat? Please help me out. Otherwise, I'm going to have to randomly find out. We have 2 mystery cards that I have figured out. We have 1 piece of evidence I haven't found. And I don't even know where to go at this point. So let me look at my grade here, see who we have asked about what. So for Taylor, the ringleader, we've already asked him about Dr. Little, but we didn't press him. Could do that. We asked him about Tom Tennyson. We pressed him, and he lied about his gambling habit. We asked him about Taylor, which is himself, and he says he cares more about money than the circus, which is believable. We asked him about Fedor. He didn't give us anything useful. We never asked him about the Bible. But I think I have that part of the case figured out. I just need this tiger thing figured out. We asked him about this hatred thing, the Fedor and thing, but we didn't press him because everyone's corroborating this Fedor thing. But if I'm looking, I think maybe I'm focused too much on Fedor. If Bordeaux killed Tennyson because of this witch hunt thing, would she have any reason to kill Dr. Little? Have we asked her about Dr. Little? Yes, we asked her about Dr. Little. She told us about Fedor disliking him. We asked her about Tom. Well, that's the other side of the case. We asked about this voodoo doll. We asked about it. Didn't fit the shoe. We gotta find who fits this freaking shoe, and it's nobody. All right, well then, we have to figure out one more person. We have to find someone else. Where are we gonna find somebody else? All right, let me check the notes. We already checked the casino. 74. We checked all 4 locations. 69. We checked when we were looking for the tiger. It is a little suspicious that the tiger is going straight for. I mean, tiger started here, went north, went northeast. It's kind of giving us a line straight to where Mr. Maybe we should go grill him more. Mr. Taylor. I mean, that's what we got to do, right? Because what else am I going to do? All right, so let's move to Mr. Taylor's hotel, and we'll start asking him. And we're assuming that he is the culprit, so we're not going to believe most of what he says. So let's question him about a Dr. Little. So, but this time we don't believe him. 6. Everyone disliked Dr. Little, but no more than Fedor. He would rip out her throat if he had to. 538. The problem is the shoe doesn't fit. Okay, to be completely blunt, I could give a monkey's ass about Dr. Little. She was nothing special, but my tiger is missing. Taylor is livid now. Do you know what will be the bottom line? Get out there and find my tiger now, detective. Game 1 leverage. We already had a leverage. We should have used it. We already found your tiger, dude. So what else do you want from me? All right, found your tiger. Find tiger. Let's ask about Fedor and press him again, because maybe they're misdirecting us all toward Fedor, which is why I'm stuck on this case. So let's ask him and press him this time. We don't believe him about anything he says because we're switching our suspicions to him because the tiger is going to him. 377. And maybe he wants to find the tiger so badly because he wants to get rid of evidence. Fedor hated Dr. Little, although I never figured out why. I think she treated him like one of the animals, and he didn't take kindly to that, although I can't imagine what he expected looking like he does. We already read that, but now we don't believe you. 240. Taylor is trying to throw you off the scent, but you're not having any of it. Listen, the truth is that Dog Boy was a quality addition to the Hall of Freaks. He never held a candle to the twins. A look of disgust crosses his face. But I could do without that hideous cat skulking around the carnival. We already read that. So we already did that. So I'm not going to count that as an action. I'm going to read this K with the leverage. 432. No one liked her, but Fedor, he hated her the most. She treated him like an animal, and while I didn't disagree with her, there's not much to be said for keeping the peace amongst the freaks, and she made that very, very difficult. And we used our leverage, so we're going to 690 to challenge. Taylor shrugs when you challenge him. Okay, to be completely blunt, I could give a baboon's ass about Dr. Little, who hated her, or the fact that she's dead. I could give a baboon's ass about who hated her and the fact that she's dead. He yawns. I'm losing money thanks to her, but that's the only reason I care. Honestly, I only keep her around because she kept the animals in line, but it was a daily act of will not to throw her out on her arrogant ass. Okay. So now we have that for sure. What else? We got a leverage, so we might as well, right? Let's the only thing we haven't asked with that leverage is about himself or the Bible. I don't care about the Bible. I want to know about the tiger. So let's ask him about himself with leverage. 37. To be honest, detective, I could give a champion's easy. We already read that. 324. Because we're doing it with leverage. Taylor glowers when you try to dig more out of him. When it comes to money, I never joke, detective. I was telling the truth. Gain on stress, but we don't because we leverage him. So we've asked everything we can of him with leverage, and I need to spend 2 more actions doing it because I forgot to do that. So we're down to 3 more actions. All right, so we got everything we can out of him. However, he lied to us nearly every time. So I think that's fairly suspicious, and maybe we should go back to the carnival and ask people about him, because it looks like we asked Bordeaux about him, but we didn't ask anyone else about him. So let's go back down there. Move. I'm going to ask Fedor about Taylor. Suspect number 4 is Fedor, and we're asking about C491. The man is obsessed with money. He is how do you say, an Ebenezer Scrooge. A look of horror crosses Zolotov's face. But don't tell him I said this. Please keep it to yourself. I'm going to press him. I don't think he's lying, but I just want to be sure. 744. I have enough stress to deal with it. 744. Mr. Perkins looks like he wants to gut you and play with your intestines like yarn. Zolotov doesn't look much different. I tell you the truth, and you treat me like lower than a dog. What I say about Taylor is true. I would not lie. All right, so now we are stressed, and we are moving to free, and we're going to ask the twins about Taylor. So Taylor, from him we got that he cares about money. So maybe it's him and more with money somehow. I don't know what having her killed by her own tiger would do for money for him, but maybe if everyone was threatening to leave because of her, he would have lost more money that way. Okay, I can deal with that. Let me just ask the De Winter twins what they think about this gentleman. 608. Problem is, I think the suspect is the person I haven't found that fits the shoe. 608. Papa adopted us when we were young, very young, but he takes good care of us. He could be worse, I guess. We gotta press it. Ooh, cool. There's something the twins aren't telling you, so you press a bit harder. Agatha continues to toe the party line. Papa has always taken good care of us, but Florence cuts in. He's a monster, and Flo, that's enough. Florence shuts her mouth and a sulky look on her face, but the twins refuse to say anything else. Gain 1 leverage over the De Winter twins. All right, last day. All right, what can we ask the twins since we have leverage? We're going to ask them. We already grilled them about the dislike thing. Let's use our leverage to ask them about Fedor. We already asked them, but this time we're getting the leverage answer. So 5, and we're going D781. Fedor is a kind soul. Yes, a kind soul. Oh, yes, he hated her. Yeah, we already read that. 489 to get the leverage answer. 49. You accuse them of lying. Florence looks shocked. Agatha squints at you, a very stern expression on her face. We're not lying, detective. As you can see, my sister is quite upset. Perhaps you should go and accost someone else. All right, 3. I don't even know. If I go ask Fedor. You know what? I'm just going to skip to the end and make my last final guess because I got nowhere else to do. So I'm going to go with So we're going to go with Phineas Taylor, who is 17. And motive, accidents possibility. So we'll try that. Anger, rage, possibility. Let's maybe try that. Drug related. No. Mob related, mental instability, greed, money. That's probably the most likely. Let's go with that first. 80. And then if that doesn't work, since we're done with, we failed essentially, I will just keep going until we see what we can get. Just going with predictions. I'm not gonna investigate anymore. I got nowhere else to go. Where we go? Money, need to be noticed, obsession, political, religious, revenge, self-defense, jealousy, suicide, keep a secret, urge to protect. Let's go with money. So 17 and 80, 97. Well, nope. Nope. Okay. Sorry, I was paused on that a little bit because it's actually an entry from this case that we haven't read, so I shouldn't read it, but I figured we already lost the case. I'm about to read the solution anyway. But it says, Agatha discovered Tom and Florence were going to run away together. Without her sister, she would have been left with nothing at all. Reveal I, which we did. So it's just an alternate. It looks like an alternate way to find out that. Oh, shoot. Oh, my goodness. All right, I figured out why I couldn't figure this shit out. So, mystery card 8 is now what B is. So on this here, there's a mystery card 8 column. I could have been asking about him the whole time. It's too late at this point. I'm not going to try to backtrack that, but I don't know if that would matter because I kind of already figured that part out. So you know what? Why don't I just go through and ask them all each once about that, because I kind of find that to be a little bit unfair that I didn't know that, because I definitely wanted to ask about him, but he was dead. So let's just start asking everybody about mystery card number 8. 506. So we're asking Phineas Taylor, give us 506, and then we'll make our final guess. And we'll just concede that we failed, but I really want to figure it out. He's dead. Taylor looks furious. It's that damn Babette and her voodoo nonsense. She couldn't tolerate Tom's belief, but we'll see how she feels when I throw her out of the show. Okay, well, that's what we kind of figured. Let's go to 349 and make sure that he's not full of it. Taylor's bluster is masking something. You crack your knuckles and he starts to sweat. Hey, no need for violence. He licks his lips. The truth is, all of my freaks, Tom will be the easiest to replace. Little folk are a dime a dozen out there. Certainly much easier to find than conjoined twins. Taylor offers a calculating smile. Like I said, easy to replace. So maybe he didn't kill him for money. We can ask Babette about him being dead. 523. Dead? In a church, you say? The irony. I can hardly stand it. She pauses. You should really look into the De Winters. Tom wanted to stick his little thimble in Florence, but Agatha found him revolting. Look at I, which is a relationship one we already knew, and turn to 400 if we want to challenge, which we do because we assumed that she was the murderer. You mentioned one more detail about Tennyson's death and are rewarded with a moment of elation crossing Bordeaux's face. She quickly masks it, but it's hard to see that she's incredibly pleased by the news. So then he's going to be with his precious God. Good riddance, I say. Okay. All right, didn't really help, but good to know. Mystery card 11 is still over here, so that's another one we can ask about, but we never discovered it. So let's try. Let's try nothing. Let's skip that one. I don't know what's going on with the tiger. Let's try. For the second victim, we think Phineas Taylor did it, and money was the motivator. To 7 and 8 is 15, 152. Agatha tries to put on the shoe, but before her, that is not it. All right, let's try our second guess, which is Bordeaux. 215, and then motive would be accident, rank 8, anger, rage. 21, 6, 3, 236. But I think it might be also religious, so let's try this and then. Nope. Let's try 215 with a different motive. So Bordeaux, accident, anger, which is not the case. Moderate insults, but money, greed, need to be noticed, obsession, political, religious, 141. That'll be my last try, and then I'm just going to read the solution because I don't know what's going on. 6, 5, 3, 356. All right. So I completely failed both parts of this. So I don't know who the suspect is for the tiger murder. I don't know what happened with Tennyson's murder. I might have come out differently if I had realized this mechanic about asking about the dead guy earlier. However, didn't change much when I did look it up. So what I'll do now is I'm going to put my thoughts together, what I think it is, which is wrong, and then I'm going to read the solution. So if you really don't want to be spoiled, you can play it again and try to get the correct solution because I didn't get anything correct. So you can still play this. You'd be a step ahead, but it's not completely spoiled because I'm not going to read the solution until after I do this. So my thoughts were that this dog boy man had somehow arranged that she get killed by her dagger. I don't know how she would have done that because obviously Dr. Little was killed by the tiger. It could not have been on her own by an accident because that was not an option to guess. So, and we also have this shoe clue that I never found. So I'm guessing the answer is going to be some suspect I have not found that fits in the shoe. But going with what I have to go with Fedor because of the animosity. And then the motive, I would just be anger, which we already know is wrong. And then as far as Mr. Tellison, I am kind of torn between Taylor killing him for money or Bordeaux killing him for this religious attacking that he's been doing and the hatred there. Maybe it was in tandem. But again, I was wrong. So at this point, if you don't want to be spoiled, I would suggest you leave because now I'm just going to go into the chisel book, which has the actual answer. And we'll see how close or how far I actually was at this one. I still don't know a lot of information here. And I mean, this is one of the hardest ratings of cases there is. And I still had fun doing it. I just can't. But hopefully I'm a little bit close at least. All right, Carnival of Souls. Well, let's just see what this is. Florence De Winter, identical twin. The De Winters are not conjoined twins. Okay, so that... okay. I don't know how I would have figured that out, but there you are. And then let's also look at these. A newspaper article discussing the adoption of Agatha and Florence de Winter, identical twins, by the carnival owner Phineas Taylor. Discard this card at location 74C to look at G, and then card 11 replace with F with mystery card 11. So F, A, B, C, D, F. So yeah, so this would be how that is, and you can ask about this. And then Agatha de Winter, identical. Okay, so now, yeah, it makes them two separate. Well, if they're identical twins, she wouldn't fit either of them, right? And it doesn't tell. Discard this card at location 74C. Did I not search 74C? I did, because that's where I found them, right? I had to have. Whatever, I'm just going to read it. Okay. Epilogue. Tom Tennyson was begging on the streets of Chicago when he was discovered by Phineas Taylor. Not only did Taylor offer him food and a bed to sleep in, he also offered him a life of purpose and value. He promised that Tom would be appreciated for what made him different, rather than mocked because of it. "We'll call you Tom Thimble," Taylor had said. Tom didn't argue with him. At first, things were practically idyllic. Those that made the Carnival of Wonders their home called themselves the Wonder Family, a fantastically diverse group of outcasts and oddities. There was Babette Bardot, the voodoo priestess from Haiti, Fyodor Zolotov, the dog boy who had been discovered in Russia, and Agatha and Florence de Winter, the conjoined twins that had become the carnival's most popular attraction. Tom took an immediate shine to Florence, although he could never seem to find the courage to speak to her. Over them all was Taylor, their ringmaster and surrogate father. Phineas Taylor played the loving patriarch to his band of misfits, but in truth, he was a heartless son of a bitch who could have sold any one of them for a dirty sawbuck. It wasn't long before Tom became disenchanted with the whole Wonder family and Taylor's thinly concealed abuse and manipulation. Stumbling into the church one night on the outskirts of San Francisco, Tom found the purpose he had been truly looking for: religion. Before long, he was attempting to convert the entire carnival, especially Babette Bardot, the voodoo priestess. "Get out of my tent, little man, and take your puny god with you," Tom, filled with religious zeal that only the newly converted possess, decided to lead a campaign against Babette, who viewed him as an insult to holiness of God. The carnies, however, were very familiar with the rhythms of prejudice and persecution, and they wanted nothing to do with Tom's holy crusade. They all refused to listen to him, all except for one. Florence de Winter was wildly unhappy for years, being paraded around like a monkey in a zoo. Years of being paraded around like a monkey in a zoo had taken its toll on her. Yes, she and her sister were minor celebrities, and yes, they lived comfortably, but she was sick of Phineas controlling every detail of their lives. His adoptive father act had lost its sheen years ago. She knew he only cared about money. Her sister found comfort in the show's animals, but Florence had no such distraction. She was despondent with hope for a life outside of the walls. The carnival that all changed when Tom knocked on her door, offering to share the good news with her. His passion and zeal were intoxicating. She was instantly smitten. Their courtship began immediately, and Tom completely forgot about his crusade against Babette. He only had eyes for Florence. At first, Agatha thought this was simply a phase that Florence was going through. But as the weeks dragged on and she endured night after night of insipid, sweet nothings being whispered into her sister's ear, it became clear that Tom was now a permanent fixture in their lives. Soon after she discovered the love letter that Florence had secreted away and realized the truth, her sister had told Tom their secret, that they weren't conjoined at all. Agatha and Florence were 12 when Phineas Taylor adopted them from a Los Angeles orphanage. Children as old as themselves were rarely adopted, so it was a thrilling stroke of luck for the girls, a ray of sunshine into their otherwise grim lives. It wasn't long, however, before the skies darkened and Papa's plan became clear. The girls would begin to live their lives as conjoined twins, and would become the key attraction in the Carnival of Wonders. Identical twins, no matter how adorable, weren't anything special, but conjoined twins, now that's something the public will gawk at. Florence has always resented the lie she had to be forced to live with, while Agatha accepted it, even enjoyed it at times. So when Agatha saw Tom was about to tear her sister away from her, She went to Papa and told him what was happening. You did right to tell me. I'll take care of it, Phineas said. I have one last thing to do, Tom told Florence. It was the night that they were planning to run away together and begin their new lives, but Tom had discovered a voodoo doll in his likeness, stuck with so many pins it resembled a small porcupine. He knew that Babette was using it to curse him, and while he didn't believe in voodoo, he had any power over him. He wanted to be safe rather than sorry. I just need to take things to the church and get blessed. Then we'll make our escape together. Phineas tailed Tom to St. Vibiana's church cathedral, followed him inside, and stabbed him through the heart. Try to take money out of my pocket, little man. Try to expose my secrets to the world. Enjoy meeting your precious God, you thieving little bastard. When Tom never returned, Florence confronted Agatha and learned that she had told Phineas and in turn what had been done. She wanted to kill her sister. She wanted to kill their papa. But Florence was the gentle soul. She wasn't capable of murder. So she decided to hurt them both, the only way she knew how. In the late hours of the night, she snuck through the carnival, arriving at the wagons that held the animals. She planned to release the monkeys and the dogs and the elephants and the lions and the tigers. Agatha would no longer have the thing that she cared about, and Phineas would lose hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in the ensuing chaos. She opened the northern gate, giving the creatures an escape route, and then went to the cage that held the tiger, slipping the latch up. She was immediately interrupted from behind by a stern voice. Just what do you think you're doing? Dr. Marianne Little was a brilliant animal trainer, but she also harbored a cruel streak a mile wide. The first week after Phineas hired her, she spread rumors amongst the audience that Babette's tent of mystery was dull and silly and not worth their time. Babette's attendance fell off sharply, as ticket holders flocked to the animal attraction instead. The second week, Little threatened to feed Florence and Agatha to her tiger, but the third week she hit her stride with Fedor, barking at him whenever she saw him and offering to board him with the chimpanzees. I think you'd be more comfortable with your own kind, she'd say with a smirk. The entire Wonder family wanted her dead. Fedor had even discussed killing her himself, although he would always be too much of a coward to go through with it. So instead, they absorbed her abuse and grumbled to one another behind her back. Just what do you think you're doing? Florence turned to see Dr. Little standing there, an angry snarl on her face. I was just... Wait, you're one of the twins, but you're by yourself. Dr. Little's shock at seeing Florence unattached from Agatha only lasted a moment, quickly replaced by a mask of fear as the tiger burst through the unlatched door, leapt over Florence, and brought Dr. Little to the ground in its powerful jaws. She managed one brief scream before the tiger ripped her vocal cords away with a single swipe of its claws. Florence scrambled up, one of her shoes coming off in her haste to get away, and fled the bloody scene. Babette, having heard Dr. Little's scream, peeked out from her tent in time to see the tiger finish its gruesome business. She watched it pad off through the open gate, but neither she nor the tiger itself noticed the shoelace that had become wrapped around its back paw. Okay, so the answer, Marianne Little was killed by Florence de Winter by accident. Tom Tennyson was the suspect for Phineas Taylor, or as for Tom Tennyson, it was Phineas Taylor, greed and money to keep a secret. Now, hold on. Because I answered that, and it did not give me an answer. All right, well, there you have it. I do have a little bit of complaint about, and I'll look into it after I stop this thing here, but if the shoe didn't fit the conjoined twins, why would it fit? Do they have fake legs? I don't know. I'm gonna look up a couple things just because that doesn't make sense to me. And why I did not say, because I did do Phineas Taylor and greed and money as the motive, and it did not give me a correct answer. So anyway, that is Detective City of Angels. I might do another one of these again if people enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Hopefully, if you're reading along, you enjoy the story and trying to figure stuff out too. Sorry, this one's very difficult, but I've done all the easy ones. So anyway, good night. What the fuck? Phineas Taylor, 71 and 81. 2. 52. Oh, hey.